Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, Taking iMarkIt to the Next Level. My name is Garnett Weber. I'm one of the co-founders of itracks. itracks has been providing online and mobile tools for the market research industry for 16 years now. iMarkIt, the topic of today's webinar discussion, is a valuable research tool as the activities can be added to either qualitative or quantitative studies. Once our clients try it out, they love the reporting and insights that they receive. Joel, our webinar presenter, is one of the internal iMarkIt experts, and he'll be showing some of the innovative ways that iMarkIt can be used and some of the advanced reporting options. We do want to engage with you and answer your questions. As questions or comments come up, please enter them into the chat area at the bottom of your GoToWebinar panel. We will answer some questions during the webinar, but we will definitely work to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation during a question and answer session. I'd like to introduce Joel Schmaltz, our webinar presenter. Joel is itracks VP of Client Development. Joel first started his career in the market research industry in 1999 with itracks. We hired him to oversee the qualitative services division. He helped develop and pioneer a large number of the online qualitative research tools in use today throughout the industry. Joel led the development of the first iteration of itracks' industry-leading bulletin board focus group software, now known as itracks Board. After a brief period as an IT consultant, Joel returned to itracks in 2006 and assumed management responsibilities for the systems department, and then later led the operations group for itracks from 2008 to 2012. Over the past few years, Joel has spent working and leading the business development team at itracks. He assists companies leverage technology to develop solutions that satisfy their research need. He does a great job of assisting clients in finding value and transitioning their current research practices into online and mobile environments. Go ahead, Joel.
Thank you, Garnett. I really appreciate the warm introduction. It's my pleasure to be here today. I hope that everyone enjoys this webinar, and iMarkIt is definitely a great product that can be used within market research, and we're pretty proud of what we're about to show you today. So I'm going to jump into my slide presentation, and then I'm going to have a very brief demonstration, and I'll kind of show you iMarkIt in action. But as I go through the slides, we're also going to have some screen captures of various images that can be either generated within the iMarkIt platform or reporting tools like this heat map image you're seeing now that can be pulled directly from the system. So it's really an image and video markup tool. You can take any image or video concept that you can display online, and you can integrate it with our iMarkIt platform. It can be used as an integrated qualitative exercise, so it can be integrated into any one of our qualitative products, whether it's an itracks board, an itracks chat, an itracks community, or even an itracks video focus group. You can actually leverage this technology in any one of those platforms. We can also integrate iMarkIt within surveys. So even though a lot of the survey providers out there do offer markup capabilities, no one has the advanced reporting features and capabilities that we offer with iMarkIt. And we actually integrate with a variety of third-party survey authoring platforms as well. So you don't have to necessarily use itracks for survey programming. We'd love if you would, but you can utilize your own survey authoring platform and integrate an iMarkIt right into that survey. And from the participant's perspective, it is a very seamless experience. They don't even realize that they're jumping out of your survey into an iMarkIt exercise and then being redirected back into your survey. It really is a seamless integration. Some of the advanced reporting outputs, you're seeing those heat maps here. We have a couple of screenshots of an interior from an SUV, and we were securing feedback on the ergonomics of this dashboard. It was a bit of a test project for us where we were able to generate these screenshots. So pretty good examples. I'm actually making use of the region filtering on the screenshot in the bottom part of the screen, and here I'm just securing some feedback on the ergonomics on the little control panel to the left of the steering wheel. You can see that all the other data points in the above screenshot, that there's quite a few other data points, but I've actually filtered those out with my region filtering that's built into the platform, and I'll take you through that when we go through the interactive demo. So in terms of integrating iMarkIt into an itracks chat, for instance, this is kind of a great screenshot of that interaction here. And you can actually see from the moderator's perspective an iMarkIt that has been loaded into this particular discussion. And there's actually a discussion and markup occurring in real time. So you're actually seeing this markup come in real time as a moderator or client observer, and your participants are only going to see their own markup. So that's just one example of how iMarkIt can be integrated with one of our platforms. On the quantitative side, when you're integrating with a survey, you really kind of start off with your survey, and then you jump into a concept test, and you can see that we're showing a couple of examples of two different users who have left feedback on this particular iMarkIt image. And then step 3 here is an example of some of the reporting outputs that are coming as a result of that markup. And again, we can integrate iMarkIt with some of the most common survey authoring platforms that are available today. So on this next slide, we also can test video. So in the top right-hand corner, we've actually got a quick example of doing some video testing within iMarkIt. And you can see there's a play button. This is the participant's perspective, pardon me, the moderator's perspective. And they're playing this video back, and they can actually click on these little icons here that you're seeing to display the comments that are left on that particular frame in the video. So iMarkIt is a pretty common tool to be used for commercial testing or online video testing. For instance, if you want to have some videos up on your YouTube channel and you want to do some testing first, you can utilize iMarkIt to do that, whether it's in a qualitative or a quant engagement. And then in the bottom screenshot, we're actually doing some testing on some packaging options, and you can see the feedback coming in on these particular packaged goods options. So that's kind of a really neat couple of examples on how you can leverage iMarkIt within our platforms. The real-time engagement, this is another screenshot that's showing that. So it's a little more obvious. You can see that we've got a moderator here who is asking questions, and again, this is the moderator's perspective, and we can actually see the feedback coming here in real time. And pardon me, this is the participant view, not the moderator view, but this is the feedback from our participant who we have logged in here. And they're also not only providing feedback directly on the concept, but they're also providing text-based feedback in the message area to the moderator. So another kind of really great illustration of how that real-time markup is occurring from the participant's perspective. She is only seeing her own feedback here, so she's left 4 comments, and then she's still chatting here with the moderator, and her name is Tara. So kind of a neat example of how the real-time experience works with iMarkIt. From a reporting perspective, we have a really advanced reporting interface. Here we're doing some testing on one of our own one-page product sheets. And you can see that we've got quite a few tools enabled in terms of demonstrating the full capabilities of iMarkIt. You can see our alias names up here on the right-hand side. These are all customizable. You can actually use whatever labels or text labels you'd like for your emoticon tool or your callout tool that you're leveraging within iMarkIt, and our team can customize those labels for you when you set up the iMarkIt. So the heat map, what it's representing here is a frequency of clicks. So where you see the really dark red on the mobile device, that's representing a much higher frequency of clicks in that particular area. So really great to include heat maps in your reporting to your clients. It's a really great visual output, and it tells a great story. Here's another example of another reporting output. These are, we're looking at data points here where people have left comments on this left image. And you can actually see that there's a few different colors here. There's a green, a red, and a yellow. Well, those colors correspond to a text label as well. So a green might be a dislike, a red is, or pardon me, a green is a like, and a red is a dislike, and then a yellow is a general or confusing or not sure. We actually have a variety of different output options. Over here on the middle image, I'm showing some of the different graphical options that we have. So you still have a like, dislike scale here, but you're seeing a couple of different options. So the little smiley face is what we call the emoticon tool. You can have a check mark as well. And then the callout tool, where we're just securing text-based comments, those are the little speech bubbles. So just a few different options here where we're leaving or we're showing or illustrating some of the different capabilities from an iMarkIt perspective. And then over here we have our data points enabled as well, but we're also turning on the heat map filtering. So quite a few different options here on a single iMarkIt concept, just to demonstrate the different capabilities within the platform. We also have text highlighting capabilities. So if you want to have respondents provide feedback on a written concept, you can do this as well. And what we're seeing here again is a higher frequency of clicks. So I might have a like and dislike or change scale on a text highlighting tool exercise, and what we're seeing here again is the color is indicating which sections were selected with more frequency. So for example, if this was dislike that I had filtered on, so I'm only looking at my dislikes here, you can see that I would have 20 clicks in the top paragraph in that in the middle of that first sentence. So that's a really good indicator to me if I'm a copywriter that I need to maybe reconsider what I've written there, because we're getting a lot of dislike areas. Here's the region-based filtering. So we can actually create these regions or zones on the fly within the iMarkIt. So it's usually better to plan out your regions before you launch your iMarkIt project, but you actually can update these regions at any time during the iMarkIt experience, even post data collection. And some of the reporting options will actually include the region information in which the comments were brought back. So we've broken up this particular image into about, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unique regions. And I have an ability now to filter on these different regions right within the platform. So for instance, if I wanted to just get feedback on my main image area, then I could, within iMarkIt, I'd have an option to choose just that main image region. It would filter out the rest of the comments, and we'll see that in action when I move into the interactive portion of our demo today. So again, from a reporting perspective, here we're seeing the regions displayed, the comments displayed, and the call-out emoticons. So you have a variety of different report output capabilities here within the platform, and again, it is extremely flexible and robust in terms of what types of reporting you want to do within the platform. We also have a word frequency capability in the platform. So in this instance, we can see that we've got great, good, and mobile highlighted. The word frequency here for the word great was 13. And this is something that is just some handy information that you can take a look at as our post data collection within the platform. But really the lion's share of our reporting option comes from the heat map and the region filtering, and then our Excel downloads as well. So here's an example of a video from the moderator's perspective in the reporting screen. So we've actually done some testing on a video here, and we can actually see these little icons. These are where comments have been left. And then we have a little chart here at the bottom that's going through over time in the video, and this is just telling us where we're having more comments on that particular portion of the video. So pretty handy tool for doing video testing online. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump into a quick interactive demonstration of the platform. So I'm just going to bring up, we're going to look at a quant survey first. So this is the demo survey that's available on our website. I'm actually going to run through an iMarkIt image experience. So I'm just going to click the iMarkIt image here and hit the continue button. So this is basically like question 1 in our survey. And this would be question 2, and so I'm still in our survey platform. So now when I hit the continue button, I'm actually going to jump right over into our iMarkIt exercise. So from a participant's perspective, it's a really seamless experience, and I've got a few different options here for my callouts. So normally we recommend sticking with a single tool set, and then up to 3 different ways to rate the image or your feedback, basically like a Likert scale. And then in this example, though, because it is a demonstration, we have other tools enabled too. So if I click on the emoticon tool, we can see that we have little emoticons associated with these Likert scales, and we have a bunch of different options. We also have a drawing tool, so you can actually draw or circle things. So for instance, I could circle this icon and say great icon choice. So that's just another quick example of, if you're looking for maybe some freehand drawing capabilities within iMarkIt, that's definitely available as well. If I just go back to our emoticon tool, let's say, and let's say I click the question label, and I can actually say, not sure what this icon means. So you can see that I have a lot of different capabilities here in terms of leaving that markup. And let's say I really like, for instance, this image. You can see how easy it is from the participant's perspective to work within this technology. And once they're finished with their markup, they can actually move on back into the survey. And we actually even have the ability to include some compliance here. So for instance, if you want them to leave at least a certain number of comments before they move on, you can do that. But as soon as I hit the save and exit button, it redirects me back into my survey, and it was very seamless from my perspective as a participant. And again, we can integrate this with all the common survey authoring platforms that are out there today. So just a great example of integrating iMarkIt within a survey. So let me just go back to some of my other windows here that I have currently set up. And the next one I'm going to show is our chat platform. So this is itracks chat. This is where we would have a participant or a group of participants participating with a moderator, and these sessions take place over typically about 90 minutes and with 8 to 10 people. Now we're not talking to each other, we're actually typing messages. So I can actually post a question here. directly into the chat interface, and I can see that I've got Luke currently logged in, but he has not yet responded to this question. So if I bring Luke's screen up, we can actually see he's in Internet Explorer here. I can just say ready, and we're going to go back to the moderators view, and the moderator is actually going to post this particular iMarkIt to the whiteboard area. And if we go back into Luke's interface in Internet Explorer, we're actually going to see a screenshot here from a video. This is a television show that we did some testing on, and we can actually start leaving feedback on this particular image. So, from the moderator's perspective, moderators actually have the ability to see this feedback occurring in real time, and your client observers would have that capability as well. But just some quick examples again of integrating iMarkIt within the itracks chat platform, and again showing how easy it is for the participants to go through that experience within iMarkIt. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to move over to the bulletin board platform. And from the bulletin board perspective, we actually have an ability to integrate with iMarkIt as well. And I've got a couple of different examples here from an iMarkIt experience perspective. This first one that I'm going to show is an Xbox website screen capture, and I'm going to click on the Start Exercise button here. So we're going to take a quick look at this from the moderator's perspective right within the discussion board platform. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize my window here. And one quick thing I want you to notice is this is a fairly high resolution screenshot. So I'm actually having to scroll a little bit, and I can scroll down and I can see some of the feedback that's been left by Elsie. And because I'm looking at things from the moderator's perspective while this discussion is still ongoing, I actually have the ability to turn on my additional respondents who've left feedback on this particular iMarkIt image. So now I'm looking at everybody's feedback, and if I scroll down again, I'm going to see some more comments scattered throughout this particular web page. Now, if you don't want to scroll around, you actually have an ability to use the zooming tool here in the platform, and I just hit the minus sign, and this actually goes to a page view, so I can actually see the whole iMarkIt concept now, and that zooming tool is available to participants as well, so that's kind of a neat feature. I can also go back into a zoomed in view just by leveraging the magnifying glass, and you can see that we're getting a little bit closer and blowing up that image again as we go through and zoom in. And I can actually just hit the plus sign or the minus sign again and go directly back out to this full view. And if I just turn everyone's comments off again except for Elsie's, we can see that she's left 4 comments on this particular iMarkIt. So just kind of a couple of cool examples on how you can work with the iMarkIt tool and demonstrate these different capabilities from the moderator's perspective. Client observers get this reviewer's pane as well and have the ability to filter on specific comments when the group is ongoing. So the other thing that I wanted to show is the video data collection. So I've got a small video here that that I can share with you as well, and there's a bit of feedback here as well. And this is again in the itracks board platform, but I can actually play this video back. I'm just going to turn my volume down a little bit, and I can pause this at any time, but I can actually click on these little triangles, and I could actually see some of the comments that have been left by the participants on this particular iMarkIt video exercise. So a couple of a really neat options, again, from a reporting perspective and seeing this happen. We also have a drawing tool capability here as well, so we can draw things like arrows, and or we can circle things, and we can leave comments based on our drawing feedback. I'm just going to delete that particular comment, but just a quick example of how you can leverage a drawing tool in the video testing, and you can actually secure that drawing feedback on a single frame of the video. So really powerful and handy feature, and something that's really unique to iTracks. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. The next thing that I wanted to show is some of the reporting capabilities within our iMarkIt platform. And I'm going to jump into our iMarkIt reporting here. So we've looked at a few different concepts here within the platform. So I'm going to jump down into our Xbox web page, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the advanced reporting. So this is where you can generate your heat maps and word frequencies, and you can set up all of your region filters. So by default we get the dashboard view within the platform, and you can see that I've got about 20 comments that have been left here. They're all emoticon type comments, and then I've got 3 dislikes, 3 questions, and 14 likes. So just a quick example of how the dashboard reporting looks with an iMarkIt. We've also got our word frequency here. Now I don't have a lot of data with this one, so imagine with quant data you get quite a high number of words here in your word frequency reporting. But the heat map is really neat, and you can see here that I've got, again, it's a zoomed in view, but I can actually go to fit page here, and I can look at that heat map and see the entire concept, in this case a web page. And then what we're seeing here from a frequency perspective, anywhere where we're seeing kind of red, that's an indicator that we're having up to 2 comments in this case on this particular iMarkIt concept. But I can actually turn these data points on. So we looked at that in the PowerPoint deck, how we can actually turn some of those comments on, and we can see that we're getting some like feedback here on the Black Friday image in this particular web page. We can also turn the comments on, so we can actually see the comments right within this particular iMarkIt. And then I have an ability when I'm into reporting, I can actually drag these comments around, so when I create my screenshot for this particular iMarkIt, I can actually have all my comments organized very nicely to generate a great, clean looking screenshot. And you can see that it's really easy for me to do that. So I'm going to turn these comments off for now, and I'm going to actually turn my regions on. So this is one great thing about this particular concept that I like to illustrate the region capability. So I've got a title region, I've got an Xbox One region, I've got an Xbox 360 region, and a recommended and a footer. So I can actually now leverage the filtering capabilities. So for instance, if we've got some creative people that are working on this particular page, and you've got a team that's working on just the title section, or maybe a team that's working on just the Xbox 360 section, you can actually provide that team just with that feedback. So if I go to my region filter and I turn on, let's say, my Xbox 360 region and hit the apply button, you can see that all my other comments are being filtered out now. So I'm only going to see my comments on this particular region, and looks like they nailed it on this particular section of this page based on this feedback that I have here. So really great example of again leveraging the power of the region filter right within our iMarkIt platform. And I can again turn all of those regions back on and hit the apply button, and then we'll see all the comments come back on. So really straightforward and easy to use. If I go back to my alias names page, if I want to bring back just my dislikes, I can hit the apply button here on my dislikes, and so I can actually see some feedback coming in based on this particular iMarkIt image. So just some really cool examples of the filtering capabilities right within the iMarkIt platform. And then from a region perspective, I can actually create these regions, and I can create them on the fly. So if I want to, let's say, adjust the size of my footer region, I can actually make it bigger. Not a problem. And it can overlap with other regions. That's also not a problem. I'm going to drag this back down, and we'll kind of leave it where it was and hit the Save button. But just a quick example of how we can do this. We can also move the regions just by clicking and dragging, and then I can even draw a new region, and I can give it a name here. And we can just call this Shadow. So just a couple of quick examples of how we can actually create regions and work within this particular region filtering setup. Now, I'm going to go into the reporting for the Excel files on this particular concept, and I'm going to click the Export Report button. And I'm going to choose an XLS report, and I'm going to grab all my feedback. I'm going to hit the Generate button, and that's going to generate an Excel file in just a few moments, and I'm going to open it up on my computer. So it's downloaded onto my computer, and I can open up this feedback now. And so here's all the feedback that we've collected. So we see all of our comments, so we can actually do coding. We can see the emoticon image that was used. We can see the alias label that was associated to that emoticon image. And then we also have our X and Y coordinates. But a really neat thing here is we have all of our region names that are associated with the comment. And where you're seeing a blank here, which I'd like to point out as well, that's actually a section on the iMarkIt concept that we don't have a region defined. So when I moved that region earlier in our interactive demo, you can see that I pulled a few comments out of a specific region, and so now they're showing up as a blank here. But this is really convenient in terms of providing feedback to creative teams when you're working on concept testing. So really great example of the power of iMarkIt. We also can see who left the comments, and if you're interfacing with a survey, for instance, you're going to have unique identifiers here versus a name. This is a qualitative integration, so we're actually getting the username or the display name for that particular user in the discussion board. So a couple of really great examples on how you can leverage the iMarkIt platform. Now, if I jump into our video as well, I can actually click on the advanced reporting for our Star Tours video. And again, we've got our dashboard view and a word frequency report here as well. And then if I go into the video, I can actually play the video back directly in my interface, or I can go through and I can start looking again at these comments. I've got them set to minimal right now, so I'm going to turn it to normal, and I can actually see what comments have been left on this particular iMarkIt. So this is a great way to do video testing online and secure that qualitative feedback right from within your videos. And again, this data is all available via Microsoft Excel as well, with timestamps and where they're occurring within the video. So just some really core capabilities here with itracks. And again, this video testing and video concept markup is something that's really pretty unique to itracks. So you can't really find anything quite like this anywhere else. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump back into our slide presentation, and I've got a resources page that's up here, and this is kind of a great place to come and look at case studies that we've published and look at other webinars recordings. There's one in particular here that we'd like to call out, which is where Quant and Qual collide. This is a webinar recording from Bert McCloskey, and it's really kind of around leveraging copy testing within iMarkIt in our suite of products. And this one is a great webinar that I would encourage you to review, especially if you're interested in leveraging iMarkIt with itracks. So what I'll do next is turn the control of the webinar back over to Garnett. And Garnett's going to manage a little bit of a Q&A session and provide some closing comments. So thank you again, everyone. It was my pleasure today, and I'm looking forward to answering some questions now.
Great. Thanks, Joel, for a great demonstration and overview of the iMarkIt tool. So questions can be asked in the chat area of the GoToWebinar panel, so you can type your questions in there. And we have a number of questions that people have asked already, so we'll start off with those and we'll go forward. Joel, I will make a mention. There was a request to see an actual video go through and see how the comments are added from a participant's perspective. So I'll maybe just mention that to you if you want to set that up.
Okay, I can work on that as you're going through the first couple of questions.
Great. Okay. So so the first question here is whether the iMarkIt questions can be added to Qualtrics survey software.
Yes, it can.
Okay, great. Then the next question here does the respondent stop the video to make their comments, or does the video keep playing as they add their comments?
As soon as they click on a emoticon or call-out tool within the platform and then click on the actual video, the video automatically pauses and allows them to leave their comment. Once they've completed writing their comment, then they can hit the play button and the video will resume exactly where they left off.
Great.
And I can show you that in real time as well.
Great. Good. Okay. And then can you remove respondents' names for reporting purposes?
Yes. I mean, it's really up to you on what is being collected by our system. So you can have aliases in there or just user IDs. You can work with our team, and like for instance, if you don't want names in there, you have to mention that to our team and they'll make sure that those names don't show up in the data.
Right. All right. Another question here around survey platforms. Can iMarkIt be used in conjunction with the Variant survey platform?
That's one that I'm not familiar with, but what our kind of rule of thumb is we can integrate with anything that can integrate with third-party panel like ResearchNow or USAMP or other panel providers like that. If you can do that with your survey platform, then you can integrate in 99 times out of 100 with iMarkIt.
Great. All right. So there's a few questions that I'll lump together here, and it's around the tool being used to evaluate websites. If someone wants feedback on website content, how do you recommend doing that with the iMarkIt tool, Joel?
Well, what I like to do is I like to use the iMarkIt tool to just to secure some feedback on a website in terms of asking respondents where they think buttons will take them. So for instance, I see a lot of people doing that type of testing with websites. So if I just pull our interface over here from the participant's perspective in a bulletin board, we might set up an iMarkIt and ask them some specific questions on where they think the next available question is going to take them, and you know, if they expand day one introductions, where may they think that's going to take them, and we can even drill into more questions in terms of testing now. From a website perspective, this is Candace's experience. She's logged in as a participant here, and this is an actual website experience. So in this case, I'm just using a Likert scale with a question mark, but this is just another kind of basic example on how you can leverage iMarkIt just to secure qualitative feedback on this particular website design. So what the meaning behind the question label is maybe they're not really sure what this what entertainment means. For instance, I'm not really sure, where is this going to take me? I don't actually know, or you might ask them where they think it's going to take you, and then that gives you an idea whether or not that's an appropriate label to take you to that particular section in a website. So we've actually got some user experience experts here at itracks, and they can provide a much clear response to that question, Garnett, and maybe that's a question that we'll take offline and have one of our user experience experts kind of chime in on how they're leveraging the platform for website testing, because it does get used quite a bit for web page testing, which is why I brought this particular image in here to show with our interactive demo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to clarify, typically the website, the interface of the website is saved as a PDF document, and then that is what is uploaded into the iMarkIt tool, and then that's where respondents can specifically add the feedback, and then the reporting can be generated off of that.
Perfect. So I do have the video ready to go here as well. And I can actually click on the Start Exercise button. So we had a question right off the bat there that people wanted to see the participants' experience with the video data collection portion. So I'm again logged in as Candace, one of my users my participants in my bulletin board. You can see that they don't have a reviewer's pane. So it is very similar to the moderator's perspective, but they're not seeing anybody else's comments, and they only have the ability to really kind of play the video and then to start to leave feedback. So we can just say, so there's just a quick example of Candace leaving a comment here on this particular iMarkIt, and then when she's finished her comment, she can just hit the play button to resume the playback.
And I'll make a comment, videos that go over, because we're doing the webinar over a GoToWebinar, there is a slight delay sometimes, and it's just, it wouldn't be like that for the participant experience. It's more just because we're demonstrating this during the webinar through the GoToWebinar panel.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Gernette, because everything looks perfect on my end, and I do realize that when we're streaming this over the web that things may look a little choppy, but from the participants' perspective, it is actually a very high-resolution video that they're evaluating, and it looks really clean from their perspective. So here's just another example. I'm going to leave another comment here. This shot. So just a quick example of leaving a dislike comment now on this particular frame in the video, and then again I can just hit the play button again to let that video go. So just some quick examples there of some of the iMarkIt capabilities.
Great. Thank you, Joe. All right, so a few more questions here. Where does the video reside? Do we need to upload it into iMarkIt?
Yeah, the video does get uploaded into our systems, and what we ask is that you just provide us the video, and our team looks after that for you, because in some cases, if it's a high-definition video, for instance, we may have to resize it so that when it is streaming back to the respondents that it is a reasonable size. We don't want really big videos that we're having to stream back. So we take the video and set the resolution to something that's going to play back really seamlessly for respondents on a typical high-speed connection.
Great, thanks. Can you set a video so that someone watches it completely one time through where they can't comment and then open it up to comments?
Yeah, there would be an ability to do that. You wouldn't use iMarkIt for that first viewing of the video. You would just actually upload the video right into the whiteboard area, and then they could play the video back in the whiteboard area, and then the next question could be the iMarkIt exercise. Now, in terms of preventing the video from being paused on that first run-through, that's something that you'd have to talk to our client services team, and that's a question that we can answer offline. We have done things like that in the past, but I'd have to just double check with our client services team to make sure that's still a possibility if anybody did have that need.
Great. All right, next question here. Are the iMarkIt tools and exercises set up in the bulletin board the same as other questions? And I believe they mean the researcher doing it themselves. So can the researcher set up the iMarkIt exercise themselves, or is it set up by the itracks support staff?
Yeah, so the itracks support staff will create the iMarkIt exercise for you, and then as a moderator or the discussion guide programmer, you can actually place that iMarkIt kind of wherever you'd like within the system. So if I just jump back to my moderator page here, and I'm going to bring this up on my screen. So what will happen is the itracks team, the client services team, they'll set up the iMarkIt for you, and then as a moderator, you can come in and you can take a look at your whiteboards, and it shows up under the links section, so you can see that I've got a few iMarkIts here. We've got a little icon too that's an indicator that this is an iMarkIt. And then you can place these whiteboards anywhere you'd like in your discussion guide. So if you want to display it twice, or you want to move it, for instance, to another question in your discussion guide, you do have that ability. So if I go into project setup here now and moderator guide, this is where we can actually kind of work with these different whiteboards. So if I just edit the Xbox iMarkIt exercise, you can see here under Select Media that I've chosen the Xbox.com iMarkIt exercise.
Great, thank you. How many comments are made on average?
It's really dependent. A lot of the clients that I work with, they'll sometimes turn on the compliance feature, and then they'll be looking for at least 3 or 4 comments. But I mean, you can have a user leave 5 or 10 comments, and then in terms of the total number of comments, it really depends on how many people you're sending through the system. On average, an iMarkIt exercise in a quant survey, for instance, may take about, from the respondent's perspective, anywhere from between 3 and 5 minutes. So you do want to be cognizant of that time commitment, because that will impact your LOI on your surveys. And then from a qualitative perspective, it's not as critical because the time commitment in qualitative is much longer. But in surveys, once you start going beyond that 20-minute mark in a survey, you know that you can run into some respondent fatigue and have people drop off the exercise. So you definitely want to be aware of that. So for instance, I wouldn't force people to leave 20 comments on an iMarkIt as an example.
Great, thanks, Joel. During a real-time group, can clients participating in the back room view the comments provided by the respondents?
Yes, the interface for client observers is very similar to the moderators. So if I just jump into our Nissan ad here, I'm looking at this in the bulletin board, but the chat experience is very similar to this. So the observer would have the option, or the moderator, to open it up in a full screen view like this, and then they can show everybody's comments on this particular iMarkIt, or they have the option to just bring up, Elsie's comments, or just bring up Brent's comments. And the neat thing about doing this in a chat is these comments actually will come in real time. So as Brent leaves more comments, you'll actually see those refreshing on your screen as they come in.
Great, thanks. Next question here. When adding iMarkIt exercises to surveys, is there a maximum number of respondents that can go through the exercise?
No, there is no real maximums. I mean, the one thing that you have to be aware of is we do charge in quant per evaluation. So if you're running 400 people through a survey, you would be charged for 400 evaluations on that particular iMarkIt. The cost is very low per evaluation, but I mean that is something that you'd have to be aware of, and our itracks the sales team would be able to provide you with an accurate estimate based on your survey design.
Great. Do you have a recommendation on the number of iMarkIts that can be conducted during a qualitative session?
Yeah, I like to say 5. I do have some clients that on a regular basis will run up to 7, but once you start going beyond 5, you can run into some respondent fatigue. So I like to use 5 as my maximum, and but I will accept a project with 7, maybe even 8. But once you start going beyond that, then you're at risk of really kind of fatiguing the respondents. And what happens as they get into a higher number of iMarkIt evaluations, they'll just stop leaving good feedback. So anything they've seen after concept 5 or 6 or 7, you may not get some great feedback. But in conjunction with that, though, we do offer concept randomization capabilities right within the bulletin board platform. So if you are running a project with, let's say, 5 or 7 concepts, you can actually show them in a random order to the respondents, and the software will handle all that for you automatically. And then you don't have to worry as much about any fatigue that could be occurring if you were showing the concepts in the same order to everybody.
Great, thank you, Joel. Thank you everyone for attending. We really enjoyed being able to share one of our tools with you. We will be following up and sending out a link to the recording and the slide deck, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to assist and can provide more information or talk about your specific project as needed. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.